Hey kiddos, welcome back. Thought we'd practice some dimensional analysis today. We've had a few videos on using dimensional analysis, and this one is just for you and I to sit down and practice. If you've mastered dimensional analysis, you probably don't want to spend too much time with me on this. However, if you're struggling, this is a great opportunity for you to practice a few of these with me. So I think the best way to do this is for you to work the problem and then turn the video on and see how I do it. See if your setup and answer matches my setup and answer. And we'll keep on doing that until hopefully by the end of this video you folks feel a bit more confident in your abilities in dimensional analysis. So before we do this one here where I want to convert 1.25 years into seconds, let me do one that's a bit easier. Let's convert 2.83 days into seconds. Now of course we know that one day consists of 24 hours. So that's a conversion factor that we're going to use. And don't we know that 1 hour consists of 3,600 seconds? So I'm going to use these two conversion factors in completing this problem. Now both of these conversion factors, kiddos, are definitions. So they have infinite number of sig figs in them. So I will be limited in my sig figs by the value that I gave you, which was 2.83 days. So this value here has 3 sig figs. So at the end of the problem, I'm going to round off my answer to 3 significant figures. So once again, pause the video right now. Try to do this without my help. Then return to the video and see how you did. All right, here we go. 2.83 days. And remember, we're going to multiply by a conversion factor. We're going to put this unit that we want to get out of on the bottom so that it divides out. Your math teacher will say it cancels out, divides out, whatever you want to call it. And let's hop into hours first. Now, isn't it true that for every 1 day, there are 24 hours? It's not the other way around. There aren't 24 days in 1 hour. Please make sure your conversion factor makes sense. There are 24 hours in 1 day. So now if I were to stop my calculation right here, I would multiply 2.83 times 24, and I would round my answer off to 3 significant figures. Remember, because this guy here is a definition, and it has an infinite number of sig figs. I'd round it off to 3 sig figs because of the value that I gave you. Now we're not done, because I want seconds. I'm only in hours. So let's add another conversion factor. This time, let's divide out of hours. So I'll put that on the bottom, and let's get into seconds. Okay, isn't it true that in 1 hour, there are 3,600 seconds? Once again, don't flip this around. There aren't 3,600 hours in 1 second. That makes no sense at all. There are 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. So now when I multiply this out, I will hop out of days and get into hours by multiplying by 24. Then I'll hop out of hours and get into seconds by multiplying by 3,600. And my answer will be, let's see, in seconds, because that's the unit I'm left with. So let's pull out our calculators. I'll use the one that I use in class with you folks, and we'll plug and chug. So we have 2.83, and if a number's on top, we're going to multiply it. So we're going to multiply that by 24. Don't press enter yet, because we're not done. We want to multiply again by 3,600. So times 3,600. Now I'll hit enter, and my calculator has all sorts of digits in it. 244,512 seconds. But remember that 244,512 seconds needs to be rounded off to 3 significant figures because of the value that I gave you. So we count over 3 from the left, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to round that off to 245,000 seconds. Or you could write that as 2.45 times 10 to the 5th seconds. Either answer I would be very happy with. Okay, did your answer match my answer? All right, try number 2. Come back to the video and see if your answer matches my answer. All right, we're back. So let's see, we want to go years into days. So what conversion factor will I use? Let's see, 1 year has how many days in it? Well, let's say 365 days are in a year. So we're going to start with 7.72 years. We're going to multiply by a conversion factor. We're going to put years on the bottom. Always include your units. Don't just put numbers down here. Put the unit down. And we want to hop into days. What's my conversion factor? Well, 1 year has 365 days. 1 year has 365 days. It's not the other way around. There aren't 365 years in a day. There are 365 days in a year. So years divide out, and I'm left with days, which is the unit that I want. So we're going to end up with days here. Looks like we have 3 significant figures in my answer. So let's see what we get. 7.72 times, because the number 365 is on top, 365 is, now my calculator says 2817.8. All right, 2817.8. We're only allowed 3 sig figs, so let's count over 3 digits from the left. 1, 2, 3. We have to make a decision there. So how about 2,820 days? Which is wonderful. If you wanted to write 2.82 times 10 to the 3rd days, that would be fine also. Okay, they both have 3 significant figures in them. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and try example number 3 on your own. And come back and see how I did it. All right, welcome back. Now we're going to convert weeks into seconds. So let's see what conversion factors we need to use here. Isn't it true that 1 week has, let's see, I don't know how many seconds are in a week, but I do know that there are 7 days in a week. True story? Yeah. And then we already know that 1 day has 24 hours. We did that earlier. And that 1 hour has 3,600 seconds. So we're going to use those 3 conversion factors. So let's start with 0.0035 weeks. We're going to multiply by a conversion factor. What unit should I put on the bottom? That's right, the one I want to get out of, which here is weeks. And I don't know the conversion factor to go directly into seconds, but I can go from weeks to days. And I know that 1 week has 7 days in it. That's a definition. There are 7 days in a week. That has an infinite number of sig figs. So I'm out of weeks. And if I were to stop here, I'd have my answer in days. I don't want days. I want seconds. So let's get out of days. And I don't know how many seconds are in a day. Some of you might, but I don't. But I do know how many hours are in a day. I know that 1 day has 24 hours in it. That's a definition as well. So days are gone, and now if I were to stop, I would have my answer in hours. Almost there. My last step, what should I put on the bottom? That's right, hours, and we want to get into seconds. 1 hour has 3,600 seconds in it. That's another definition. So hours divide out, and I'm left with seconds. So let's get my calculator out, see what we get. Okay, 0.0035 weeks, and 7's on top, so I multiply by it. So times 7, and 24 is on top, so I multiply by that. And 3,600's on top, so I multiply by that. So on all of these, I'm multiplying because all of these numbers, other than 1, are on top, which means I multiply by them. Let's hit enter. My calculator says 2116.8. Well, I'm only allowed 2 significant figures here. Remember, those zeros out front are placeholders. They're not significant. So I have to round my 2116.8 off to 2 digits. So I count over 2, 2, 1, and the number after that is another 1, so I'll make those zeros. So I'm going to say 2100 seconds, 2,100 seconds. Or if you wanted to write 2.1 times 10 to the 3rd, that would be fine also. Okay? All right, you getting the hang of this? All right, kiddos, try the next one. and then return to the video to see how you did. All right, 180 days into minutes. So let's see, we're going to go from days to minutes. I don't know how many minutes are in a day. Do you? No, but I do know that there are 24 hours in a day. And I do know that there are, in 1 hour, 60 minutes. So those are the two conversion factors that I'm going to use. Looks like I have two sig figs here. 180 days has two significant figures. That 0, once again, is a placeholder. I could write that as 1.8 times 10 to the second. Only two sig figs in that measurement. So 180 days, and we're going to put days on the bottom. We're going to put hours on top. Let's see, do I put a 1 by day or hour? Well, what makes sense? If I put a 1 by day, I'd have 1 day would be 24 hours. If I put a 1 by hour, I'd be saying 1 hour is 24 days. Which one makes sense? That's right, 1 day consists of 24 hours. So 180 by times 24 would give me my answer in hours. That's a definition, so it has infinite sig figs. So now we can hop out of hours, and we want to get into minutes this time. And 1 hour consists of 60 minutes, another definition. So since both these numbers are on top, I'm going to multiply by them. So let's see what we get. 180 times, what was it again? 24 times 60. And let's see, my calculator says 259,200. 259,200. I'm only allowed two significant figures, so I'm going to count over 2, 5, so that 5 will become a 6 because the number next to it's a 9. So we're going to say 260,000 minutes. Now if you wanted to write 2.6 times 10 to the 5th minutes, I would be just fine with either of those answers. Okay? All right, let's not do number 5. You can do number 5 for fun. Let's go ahead and do this example at the very top. This one is sort of going to culminate into maybe a bigger problem. We're going to do years into seconds. So we're going to start with years. We're going to find out how many seconds are in 1.25 years. Now 1.25 has 3 significant figures in it, so I'll round my answer off at the very end to 3 significant figures. So 1.25 years times a conversion factor. Let's put years on the bottom so we can get out of them. Now if anybody knows how many seconds are in a year, we can use that conversion factor right off the bat, but I don't. However, I do know how many days are in a year. There are 365 days in a year. So years are gone. And now we can go from days to hours. And there are 24 hours in a day. So days are gone and I'm in hours. And now I can go from hours to seconds. And I know in 1 hour there are 3,600 seconds. So here we go. I'll have my answer in seconds in just a second after I plug all those numbers in. Looks like I'm multiplying again because all these numbers other than 1 are on top. If they're on top, I multiply by them. If I end up on the bottom, I'll divide. Okay, so let's take a look. 1.25 times 365 days times 24 times 3,600. Now my calculator has the answer, let's see, 394,200,000. Boy, that's a big number. 394,200,000. So let's see, it's 39,420,000 seconds if I counted my decimals right. So let's round that off to 3 significant figures. So I'll count over 3 positions. 1, 2, 3. Make a decision there. We'll keep that at 4. So we're going to say 39,400,000 seconds. Or you could have said 3.94 times 10 to the 8th seconds. That would also work. Oops, disappeared on us. That would also work just fine. Okay. All right, I hope this review helped you. We'll be doing more of this in class and more of this on our assignments. Good luck to you, kiddos. Bye-bye.